Thank you for joining me today. In this video, we will be covering just going over solid notes, playing from the bottom hand, and then we'll go over the top hand. The goal of this is not to race through the notes like most of us want to do. Trust me, all of us want to pick this instrument up, whether it's this instrument or any instrument. We just want to blow through it. You're going to find one of your biggest struggles learning the practice chanter, moving on to bagpipes, that you need to slow down and make sure you're playing every note. You're going to have a lot of problems first starting off because you're going to want to play. You're going to either be overblowing or you're going to find out that you're underblowing. And where exactly is that sound? So we're going to dive into this today and figure out what is the sound that you need to be producing to make sure you're playing this so you get the fullest enjoyment out of this tune or out of this instrument to move on to being able to play tunes. Saying that, let's go for it. Starting with the bottom hand. Ready? Again, this is the G. Ready? Play. Awesome. Let's move on to the A. Again. Ready? Play. Let's go on to the B. Ready? Play. Ready? Play. All right. The C, a little tricky, pinky down. This one covering these two fingers up. Play the C. Ready? Play. And lastly, the D. All right, you'll notice something on that. Really go back and take a look at my fingers. When I'm playing, my fingers are flat, like this. More often than not, you're gonna wanna start playing and you're gonna start here. You're gonna hear that noise right there. You're gonna hear a lot of awkward noises. When you start hearing that and you're like, my fingers are covering, I promise you, they're not. Stop. Evaluate your hand. Most likely what's happened is you've gone from a straight position to a curled position, and when these fingers come down like this, you are lifting up the back end of your hand here. It's lifting this end up here. See, you go from this covering the holes to this lifting up and creating this gap on the inside of here, allowing these holes to be exposed. So if you start hearing funny noises, you're not covering the holes. So stop, reevaluate your hand placement. All right, let's do that again. This time I'm gonna play straight through, going up to the D, and then I'm gonna come down. All right, here we go. 1, 2. So if you haven't by yet or haven't got one yet, I would highly suggest get a metronome. You can download them for free on your phone. You can go to the store and buy one. A metronome is going to be your best bet to success while playing this instrument. If you think that you're just going to be able to play this by ear, you're not going to be able to play it well by ear. And you're not going to be able to play very well with other people. Staying on the beat and staying on time, as well as learning how to read this music as it comes along, is a very highly needed tool that you're going to have to develop if you don't already know how to. But it's okay. Don't worry. We're going to work through that. If you study the Green Book like I play out of the Green Book, then we will be able to get through this together. So, saying that is the lower hand. Let's do the lower hand one more time. And we're going to go ahead and play now a little bit faster. If watching this now and you're ready to play it more, I'll play through this a little bit faster every time. Oh, let's say 4 times. Start out slow, get a little bit faster, get a little bit faster, get a little bit faster. We're going to go up the scale and then back down the scale. Okay. Fingers flat, okay? If you start noticing you're curling and you're starting to feel like you're squeezing this, that is a good time to stop and just take a break. But here we go. 1, 2. So this pretty much concludes what we're going to do for the bottom hand. We're going to move over to the top hand now. And the top hand, you'll notice that we went from 5 notes playing the G to now we're just going to essentially 4 notes playing with the D. If you haven't already looked at your book to see proper hand placement, your top hand played with the left hand, again, your fingers, these can be a little bit more relaxed. The holes, as you notice, as they go up the chanter, the holes get a little bit closer together. So your fingers here will be up, thumb on the back, and your pinky is just going to be at a comfortable place wherever you can find it. That little bugger just always gets in the way somewhere, and you're eventually just going to realize how to ignore it, but just finding your proper finger placement. So as we're playing here, again, fingers flat for the most part. This one's going to be a little hard because of this pinky, and then we're going up. The only difference here is when we get to this G note, this finger comes down, okay? So let's go ahead and dive in. We're going to do the same thing. I'm going to play these notes very long and let you start hearing these notes. That way you can play along, just keep them real drawn out and get used to these finger placements as you go up on the scale. We will not go from a low G to the E. We're just going to start on this E note, okay? All right. Ready? And play. Again, let's hear those notes, starting from the E. Now that you can hear these notes, now's a good time to stop and evaluate how do you feel about playing this. If your fingers are starting to feel really cramped, it's time to stop and take a break. Relax. This has got to come naturally in the fact of you just working into it. It's just like working out any other muscle. You can't go out there and expect to have the best performance ever when you've never really worked these fingers in this manner to get down the rhythm and how to exercise them. So as we move along and as you progress, it's always important. Stop, take a little time, let that tune, let those notes really sink in, and let that go and hear, realize where that sound is. There's a lot going on here between you breathing, you pushing, your lips are probably getting tired at this point. That's a good point to stop. I know when I first started, I felt like the more I was trying to play, the harder I was trying to play. I was wanting to squeeze this thing to death. If you feel like your fingers are cramping up, it's a good time to stop, walk away, give it 30 minutes, an hour, come back, pick it up and go again. But now that little bit is over, let's go ahead and go on. I'm not gonna go through like I did as in detail with the bottom hand. It's pretty self-explanatory now that we've covered the basics there. Let's just go ahead and dive in and play the top hand. I'm gonna play through just like I did on the bottom hand. I'm gonna give it 4 beats, and then I'm gonna go up, and then I'm gonna come back down, and then I'm gonna get a little bit faster. One. Now that we've covered both hands, there's one variation here we haven't really covered. This is going to be the hardest variation that you're going to have to actually do throughout your career. This is going to create a lot of crossing noises while you're getting your finger work down. And that movement is going from the D to the E. This movement is tough because you've mentally got to be there and know when these fingers come up until it burns into just some form of muscle memory. When these fingers are up, going to this D, when you go to that E, you've got to be able to simultaneously bring these down as you're lifting this one up. And look at this little pinky, it goes up also. So we're going from here to these are all coming down. And if you don't do that in the right motion, you almost get like a double or triple note all crammed together, and it doesn't sound proper, especially once we transition from the chanter here onto the bagpipes down the road. You want to make sure that's real clean, because if not, whatever sounds like here, it's amplified by 1,000 times on the bagpipe. So this movement right here, going from your D, coming up to your E, your D to your E. And you don't even actually have to play it to just get that movement down. I used to hold a pin all the time, and I'd hold a pin and I'd just try to get this down. Just that way I know when I'm going to playing, just building up that muscle memory. When I'm going from the D to the E, D to the E, D to the E, I know I'm getting that finger work down. So, and it sounds like this. Starting with the D. Slow down. So that pretty much covers going up and down the scale. I left the DE for the last because that is the toughest thing. Once you get a good sound for just being able to blow through your chanter and match all these notes and be able to hear the notes actually played, you're not overblowing where the reed shuts off, and you're not underblowing, so you're not getting this weird sound. You probably heard me play a lot through here. Well, that's because I'm doing circular breathing. That's something you can learn to do in your free time way later on down the line. It's not something for you to worry about right now. You're gonna have a lot of things going on between your lips wanting to give out, your fingers starting to cramp up, and just your overall head wanting to explode from just trying to keep this instrument going. So relax, sit back, and just try to enjoy it the best you can, because once we get these fundamentals down, we get to tackle a whole new thing of embellishments. Saying that, also, you probably have some questions about reeds, practice chanters. What practice chanter are you using? I strictly stick with an RG Hardy. I have Shepherd chanters. I have Blackwood. This is a poly. Personally, for your first ever practice chanter, stick with a plastic practice chanter. I would not invest in a Blackwood. Not that because they're bad, but personally, my personal thought is it's something that's a lot more expensive. And this here, if it's not your forte and you just don't want it, you don't want to have invested too much money into something that you're going to have to figure out how to get rid of. Also, these things are a lot more durable. I've dropped this poly chanter 12 times. I've probably accidentally sat on it. I've done a lot to it. These things are a lot more durable than a Blackwood practice chanter. Does not mean that they're bad. It just, durability wise, this thing is meant for you to develop muscle memory. It's not meant for you to just sit around and actually play for everyone, because as you can hear, it sounds a lot like a recorder. Lastly, the biggest thing that everyone always asks about is the reed. RG Hardys, and I believe a few others come with Fraser Warnocks. This is a Fraser Warnock. You'll know it's a Fraser Warnock because it's a black stem with the red tips. There's a bunch of other reeds out there. Quite honestly, all these practice chanter reeds, they're good. It's all to your liking. You will notice if you happen to ever buy a bunch of different practice chanter reeds, they're all developed different and they all pitch completely different. It's funny to think, but depending on how thick the plastic is, how long the plastic is, all depends on the vibration of it, as well as the pitch and the sound that it's going to make. So don't think that if you're not matching up, if you don't have this reed and you're playing a Gibson, which is a white body with white tips, it's probably going to sound a little bit different. If you're playing an Abbott, that's a black body with white tips, it's going to sound completely different. So depending on what type of reed you have is really going to truly depend on your sound, but they all should be pretty close together. Saying that, all these other reeds, like Abbott and Gibson, really good reeds. They're a lot stouter reeds. Those reeds are good for someone that really wants to make a lot more noise than what this thing here can produce. And I'm going to tell you right now, the more noise that you make, the harder you're going to have to learn to blow. So I would not suggest it for a first-time player. Once you get a good handle on how to make a decent sound, you're able to hold a decent sound, go up and down the scale, and you're able to get the overall feel of how it goes, then maybe start looking at getting some other brands out there and some other reeds. Dabble in it and see which one you really like. The other hard thing is you're going to notice if you want to go play with other people, it is kind of good to have a good variety of different reeds, because if once you get to where you're learning tunes and you're learning how to play a tune, not songs. We don't play songs, we play tunes. Once you get to learn to play a tune on the practice chanter, it does make it a little bit more appeasing when you go and you sit down with another piper and you're practicing this tune on your chanter and you both to kind of sound the same. If not, if you have a giant variation in pitch, you're going to be completely lost. So right now, try your best to have keep what you have. Unless it's really, really tough to play, then maybe look at, I would highly recommend this Fraser Warnock reed. They're really good reeds. Go with that. Try to match the pitch that I'm playing. Get through this, and let's move on to the next lesson. I hope this is helpful. Please comment down below, share, like this video, and let me know what you thought. Let me know what I could have added. I will be making more of these contents. This content is strictly for my pipe band and to help my pipe band. But if you found this useful, I would really enjoy a thumbs up, a like, and a comment, and let me know what you thought of it. Thank you.